My name is Wyatt Huston, and I am interviewing Mr. Hill Mr. Hill, and thank you so much for speaking with me today. So, let's get started. How long have you lived in Cooperstown?
I've lived in Cooperstown since 1964. That's 53 years, actually, this year. June will be 53 years.
Wow. Why did you or your family choose to live in Cooperstown?
Well, there's an interesting story. I was graduating from college, and my father, who was born in Germany, always wanted to have a store here. He was in retailing, owned stores in Syracuse and Rochester, and in Fort Plain. And he always wanted to have one in Cooperstown because as a young boy in Germany, he won a classroom prize of a James Fenimore Cooper novel. And when he came to this country and expanded his life, moving to Syracuse and so forth, he would come to Cooperstown just to see the community. So basically, I came here because I joined his firm after I graduated from college before I went into the Army. And so that's how we got here.
Wow. So, what did you do for entertainment when your kids were younger, growing up in our community?
Well, did a lot of things. First place, the Cooperstown, particularly in the school systems where young people are obviously not only learning but participating in sports and so forth. We did a lot of things with the children in that regard. All three of my children were very active in sports in school. My wife and I would go to the games. We would help them. Whatever was needed there. I can remember I coached my son's little league team when he was starting out and so forth. There's so much to do in a community such as Cooperstown if you find it, if you look for it. You can be someone who sits in the corner and does nothing, or you can become very active in the community and participate through your church, through your school systems, and so forth.
Yeah, it's very much like today. It's not always the same, but a lot of times it is.
Well, you're absolutely right. That's exactly what it is.
All right, so could you tell us a little bit about your education?
My education, I literally moved from one town to another practically every 5 years. I was born in Newark, New Jersey. I lived in the New Jersey area for 5 years. Then my father and mother had their first business in Stamford, New York. And we were there for 5 years, and then went to Syracuse, where I was in school for 5 years. And then I had the good fortune of going to a private school, private boys' school in Massachusetts. After that, I went to Hobart College and graduated from Hobart College and came to Cooperstown.
That's really interesting. I did not know that. So, what was your favorite feature about living in the Cooperstown area?
It's a fascinating, multi-dimensional community that people who come here for the first time have difficulty in envisioning that. There is so much to do. There's such a diverse activity opportunity. Baseball is the international and national draw from a tourism standpoint to Cooperstown. But once people come here, they often have said to me when I met them on the street or through my current real estate business that they have to come back because they had no idea that this community had a beautiful lake. They had no idea that there was an opera theater here, that the golf course here, that the historical association and the Fenimore Art Museum and the Farmers Museum and so forth. All of these different things that basically one or two wonderful families have started and did start in the 1800s. And they've just continued to be expanded. So the town offers a great many things that are very interesting.
Yeah, it really does. So, so asking you more about that, what do you enjoy most about living near the lake?
What I have enjoyed over the years is twofold. Having been in business here and had four different stores on Main Street at the same time, we had the very good fortune of serving the citizens of Cooperstown and also the visitors who came here. Our mantra was that we never had tourists in Cooperstown. We had visitors who came here were our guests in our community. And taking that approach with these folks made them feel comfortable, and they then in turn would share their lives with us and interesting things and express to us what they experienced and enjoyed about the community that we were so very fond of.
Yeah. So, how did the visitors help your business in Cooperstown?
Well, certainly, over the years, the basic measurement demographically of the impact of visitors or tourism, if you need to use a title, is that 300,000 people basically came to Cooperstown every year. Now it was confined to a 4-month time frame, 4 or 5 month time frame, but realize that Cooperstown as a village only has about 1,800 citizens. We measure the greater Cooperstown by the school district, which give or take involves about 5,000 people. But when you bring 300,000 people in, it enables a businessman to have a multi-dimensional business. You can service the community of citizens on an everyday basis, and then you can specialize a portion of your business servicing and profiting from the visitors.
Yeah. So, you have many businesses. What were the names of them?
Well, when we first came here, we opened up a business called the Farm and Home Bargain Center. That was a small discount store. We're talking 1964, which was the early phases of discounting in this country. And we were questionably received by the citizenry because there was a fear of the caliber of quality of discounting in this country, and there was hopes that we wouldn't cause a problem for it. So that was the first store. Then my wife and I bought the Smart Shop in the Village Square, and then we bought Ellsworth and Sill. And the only business that still exists is Ellsworth and Sill. The others we had to close because shopping habits changed in this country, and the catalog business, the printed catalog business, put us out of business because it was easier to shop in bed and pick up a phone than it was to have to go to a storefront.
So are the shopping habits you're talking about like malls and stuff?
Well, exactly. Initially it started with the malls developing, which hurt all of the small and large center communities. And then what also evolved was the catalog sales. And now you have the internet, which is just an electronic catalog.
Yeah, I mean, it changes a lot of stuff.
It changes everything. There's no question. The mall business is losing its strength on a national basis, and will continue to do so. But that's evolution. Evolution is part of life. We just keep changing and keep finding what's new, what's better, what's coming afterwards.
Yeah. To some people it helps, and to others it doesn't.
Absolutely, that's correct.
So, how many years did you own these businesses?
Well, I bought the first one, actually, the Farm and Home Bargain Center my father opened. I ultimately bought it from him when he died. But that was 1964, and we closed our last store in 1999.
Okay, so that's really interesting. And what was a benefit to having a business in Cooperstown?
Well, the benefits were we could live a very lovely and comfortable life in a very safe and interesting environment. My three children were born in a magnificent hospital setting that was a matter of 5 blocks from our home. They were well educated in the Cooperstown school system, and all moved forward from that in their education to very fine universities, and are all professionals in their lives.
That's great. Okay, so was there anything difficult about owning a business in Cooperstown?
The difficult part is the challenge of dealing with the demise of small town businesses, because it affects your economics, but it also affects you psychologically. As these changes are taking place, you look inwardly and say, is this something I'm doing wrong? And you're always, as a good business person, you're always challenging yourself to move forward. You cannot become comfortable and say, oh, that's good, I don't have to do anything more. So the natural tendency, that was the difficult part for our family, was that we did things changes that had to be made, but economically to preserve our good fortune, yet we were losing our control of our own businesses. We had to do other things.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that.
It's very hard. It's very hard to go through something like that, but you have to persevere, and I was very fortunate to have a wonderful wife who was a partner and a team player in that too. We worked together.
Could you share a story/memory about living in the Cooperstown area?
Oh, we had a lot of fun things. Of course, again, because we had several businesses, a lot of our stories evolved around that. But I can remember when we moved to our house across the street from the Otasaga, the first day we received a phone call from the Otasaga saying, do you have a little blonde son? Is he a member of your family? And I said, yes. He said, Jason. And this was in June of 1973. And she said, the desk clerk said, well, would you mind going down and getting him? He's down at the tennis court telling people to get off his tennis courts. And which we enjoyed tremendously, the chuckle about that, as did she. But that is the learning process. He was 6 years old, and so that. I mean, other things related to business. We had many Hall of Famers who would shop in our stores, and you'd get to know them as regular people, which was good fun. We'd go to the hotel on baseball weekend, and the gals were dancing with the Hall of Famers, and my father-in-law was getting autographs and so forth and so on. It's a very festive time.
Yeah, it's got to be an amazing experience meeting those people. So, what are some words of wisdom or advice that you would give to some young people today living in the area?
I think that there are a variety of pathways that anybody, but particularly young students, need to hear from we seniors. First and foremost is to get a solid education. That doesn't mean that you have to go to college. That doesn't mean that you have to be a physician or a professional a lawyer or something like that, because we all need every aspect of professionalism in life, and a plumber or a contractor or a service person owning a small business or working in a business is every bit as important as the physician or the lawyer in our society. And I think the most important thing is get a good, honest education, be a good, solid, honest person. Always look in the mirror and say, do I respect this person?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, a lot of people could use that too.
That's true, but don't forget, growing up is a period of what we call maturation, where it takes time to mature, to gain different levels, and you have to keep moving forward.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you would like us to know about your life growing up in this community?
I don't think so. I think that we've covered it pretty well, Wyatt. I think your questions were very pointed and very helpful. Again, it's a wonderful community, not just for a young family to enjoy and a young family to grow up in, and from the safety and education standpoint, but it's also a wonderful community for someone my age to live in. I have wonderful safety. I have the security of the hospital, which gives me wonderful care. I have good cultural events and cultural opportunities that are endless. I have a good church system. I'm very fortunate that I found an opportunity for volunteering at the Cooperstown Food Pantry. Others volunteer at the hospital. So from birth to death, it's a community that offers a wonderful opportunity for everyone at every level.
Yeah. All right, so that's about it. Thank you for speaking with me today. Your stories are amazing.
Well, thank you, Wyatt, for asking me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.